Hello, guys. Welcome back to Raising Hell to Heaven. Sadly, Kate is not with us today because she is on vacation, which we love for her because we are all about rest. But luckily for me, I have a visitor. So we have Luis Montoya here with us. If you want to go follow him on Instagram, he has a lot of knowledge, and we have been loving talking about the masculine, feminine energy and the roles that they play and how we can complement or do the opposite of complement one another, right? So we have him here today. Thank you, Liz, so much for being here with us. I'm really excited to just talk about the things.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Okay, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we kind of just roll into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a fitness business mentor. I'm also a life coach. So it's really interesting. People come to me to get a six pack, but when they leave, most of the men, they leave as better business owners, better fathers, better husbands, better human beings. They make more money, they look good, they feel good, and more importantly, I reconnect them back with their faith and back with their relationship so that way they can lead the relationship to success.
That's awesome. I love that. I've always thought that, parents, therapists, same thing, exactly. Personal trainers are basically therapists. Like, you go and you talk about all your feelings while you're working out, and then you don't even notice you got a workout in, like, while you're doing it.
Absolutely. It all goes hand in hand together. For me, it's really interesting because I think everything has to be in alignment. For me, like my
Mhm.
core values is faith, family, fitness, fun, and finances. So you got to have every
Yeah.
area, especially as a man, being the head of the household and being a leader, being masculine, you got to have every single one of those
100%.
areas on point.
Yeah. Oh, I could not agree more. So, Kate and I have a company called Live Viva, and we have those all of those pieces, right? So I've been doing fitness for a decade, really obsessed with it. But like you said, it doesn't matter how fit you are if you're not mentally fit, you won't feel good, right? And you can't get mentally fit or you can't get physically fit unless you're mentally fit. So they all tie together, and you can't, be feel full and energized if you're not putting the right foods into your body. But and it's spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. They all need one another. And you're not going to make a lot of money if you don't feel good about yourself. And you're not going to help people and serve people and find your purpose if you don't know what your purpose is. So they all intermingle. So I
Absolutely.
love how we're on the same page with that and see how, health is overall and health is wealth. So
Mhm.
we love that. That's super cool. So the biggest thing I would love to chat with you about is this constant discussion, right, of the masculine and the feminine and the roles they play and how we can encourage or inspire that in our partner, or if you're single, right, in the person that you are considering dating, right? Because I think that even when I look around, so I'm in LA, obviously a very difficult place to date, but a lot of my followers are like all over the world. But luckily, I'm like, I get to see the worst of the worst and kind of see like what's going on here. And I feel like if we can conquer what's going on here, we can solve a lot of problems elsewhere. But I'm seeing in my own experience, um, and in the experiences of my friends, my girlfriends are all on the dating apps, right? So like I get all the stories. I don't have any of the apps because I'm horrified of them. I'll download them for like 24 hours and then be like, oh God, why did I do this again? But I'm noticing that there are so many men that are really in their feminine energy and like not in a good way. And I feel like also there's a lot of women that are, myself being guilty of it. I've noticed is like as I look back, I lean so hard into my masculine, into taking care of things, into being like, I can do it myself. I don't freaking need you. That then men are like, okay, fine. Then you don't need me. Then I'm gonna go. So, what are your thoughts on that, and especially in this modern day dating? I feel like it's one of the biggest questions that I get. So, I would love to have a man's point of view.
Absolutely. What it comes down to is we live in a world where men want to be treated like princesses. They want to get the princess treatment. They kind of forgot what it is to be men. I think men are feminized, just like you said. And it comes down to social conditioning. It comes down to the content that we watch on social media. leadership in office, politics, we don't have any strong leaders anymore. And the times have changed, so maybe 10, 15 years ago, what was considered as masculinity, now it's being, talked about as toxic masculinity. So when men want to protect
Right.
their girls or whatever it is, no, you're being toxic. It's like it's a label that people are labeling strong men that are masculine. It's no longer acceptable. So it's all an agenda. I think it's all an agenda. But it all comes down to division. I think right now the agenda is to divide relationships. I feel like the division is destroying families and marriages, and quite frankly, it's feminizing men. It's putting them in their feminine energy, and it's most of the women are masculine because it's being pushed to be independent, to be a boss babe, to go chase a career, and that's all great, but I think it's very important to understand when to turn that off. You get what I'm saying? So that way you can have a loving relationship. So what it comes down to is polarity. People, that the word polarity to me is understanding gender roles, right? So I do believe that women can go chase their dreams, start a business if they want and all that stuff, but they need to understand that that puts them in a masculine energy, right? So knowing when to turn that off so that way you can get back into your feminine state is crucial. Now, men, I do believe that men should be the breadwinners. I think, men should be leaders, providers, protectors. They should be emotionally intelligent to create a safe place for their woman. When a woman feels safe, now she can enter her femininity. And when she's in her
Yeah.
true femininity, that's when she's at her essence, Having to split the bill 50-50 is going to put a woman in her masculine. Having to go to work or being forced to go to work will make her be in her feminine. Having to take the decisions in, relationships, or where are we going to go eat? If the woman's constantly having to decide that, then she's going into her masculine. A lot of men don't understand that all these little details put a woman in her masculine, and a woman will never ever submit. The word submit to me is letting your man, be the leader, trusting him that he's got it, that he is going to
Yeah.
lead the relationship. And I think when you
Yeah.
can do that as a woman, it's truly a beautiful thing, because women, to me, I don't think women are designed to be providers. They're designed to be helpers. You get what I'm saying? Now, we both play a different role. We're both on the same team. But the thing is, the roles are completely out of order right now.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? Okay, so I totally agree with all that. One thing I've noticed is that, because what you're saying is when a woman wants to start a business or wants to be a boss babe, then that puts her in her masculine. For me, especially in this town with people with a lot of money and a lot of success, I went to a point. So I was brought up in a very conservative Christian household and always kind of wanted that. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. My mom was there for us. Like that, the greatest part of my childhood is being able to, like, I knew at school I could call her and be like, hey, I need you. I'm sick. I want to go home. I forgot my backpack. Like little things like that for a child, knowing your mom is just there for you, huge. And I never like snuck out or ditched school because I could just call my mom and be like, I don't want to be here. And she'd be like, okay, I'll come get you. So I always kind of wanted to be that stay at home mom. Now, then culture kind of happened and started making me feel like, and I think a lot of women, and I think that this is partially why the boss babe thing came in, right? Is that a strong man who has a good career and has his life together will not take you seriously if you can't bring just as much to the table. So if you want a guy that makes X amount of dollars, that you better make X amount of dollars too. And it's like been reaffirmed by then the men going into this feminine energy. The last date I went on, I kid you not, this man not only asked me to split the check. This is a man in grad law school, okay? Let me
Wow.
just paint the picture here. A normal looking guy, grad law school, like seemingly clean cut. We're not talking about like I chose a thug or something, like, and I didn't choose a pretty boy like child, a normal, seemed to be responsible, hard job, all of the things, trying to be an attorney. He asked me to split the bill. and then proceeded not to send me his other half. I cannot make this stuff up.
Wow.
I cannot. And then when I was like, yo, send me my money, please, in a very way. And this is the thing, too. As a woman, I recognized that you don't get anything from a man unless you allow him to be in his masculine energy, right? So I had to say to him, hey, I recognize you are just such a good guy and would never have done this on purpose. So this must have been a mistake. I didn't receive your half of the money. And then, of course, he being in that position had no choice, but he was not happy about it. And I guarantee you had no intention, had I not done that, of actually sending me the money. Right. So that continues to put these experiences continue to make women feel like you have to be able to provide. You have to be able to step up. You have to pay the check sometimes. And if you don't, they're not going to want you. So it's a very difficult thing that society is doing. Now, I would also argue that like the correct man who is in his masculine energy, who knows what he has to offer to bring to the table, would never put me in that position. Plain and simple, you know? But it's difficult in this day and age when that is what we are being told over and over and over, to fight it and be like, no, I'm going to continue knowing that my worth and my value comes enough from just being a woman who can provide, who can be the one with, you know, being comforting, making a house a home, all these old school values that have just been kind of like shoved under the carpet.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and break that down.
Yeah, it's a little spotty, but
okay, give me 1 sec. All right, perfect. Let me know if the audio is good now.
it sounds pretty good. I think it's good.
All right. Okay, perfect. So let me break that down. Okay. All right. So when I was talking about the agenda that is being pushed on social media, it's division, right? So I think women think that they have to mirror or become the man that they want to attract. And that's completely false, because true masculine men don't want to compete with their partners. It's a partnership, you know? So I think when you say that you have to make as much as the man makes, or you have to provide, you have to bring something to the table, the stuff that you bring to the table for a masculine man, all we're asking for is just peace. Be a homemaker, you know, take care of me, you know, spiritually. I'll take care of the outer world, you take care of my inner world. That's it. That's all masculine men really want, you know? But the agenda on social media is telling you, you got to make money, you got to be a boss babe. I'll be honest with you. To me, that is like, we don't really care about that. We don't, because your money is your money. My money is our money. That's the way that I see it. So how much money you bring to the table really doesn't concern me. You know, that's not going to raise me my children. Values is going to raise me my children, you know, and that's going to keep me at peace. So I think this idea of, you know, women thinking that they have to be boss babes, they have to, you know, be able to provide, stand on their 2 feet on their own is attractive to us. It's really not, you know? So what happens in this situation that you're talking about is who are in your masculine, because now you have to provide for yourself, right? You're being forced to provide for yourself. So you're bringing that masculine energy. And now what's happening is you're attracting feminine energy, feminine men. So you're attracting men like these guys, like this guy that you were speaking about, right? Who wants to split the bill 50-50 or doesn't want to cooperate or anything like that, right? These guys are in their feminine, right? So a true masculine man would, you know, figure out the date. He would plan the date. He would make reservations. He would pick up, you know, the tab. He would, you know, open doors, pull out chairs. I wouldn't even allow you to bring your wallet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be like, let me handle everything. I just want you to have fun. Let's just have a great experience and, you know, just see where it goes. And that's it. You know, let's get to know each other. Let's have some good conversation. That's what a true masculine man would do, because it's my job to provide. From the initial start, a man should show leadership, right? Usually when we have someone who is a boss babe, or someone who thinks that they have to match the same energy as a masculine man who's a high value man or big earner, that's usually going to put a woman in her masculine energy. And what happens there is you go out into the dating scene and you start attracting feminine men, men that want to do 50-50, men that want to split the bills, men that don't take any accountability for their actions, men that are lacking masculine traits. And that's usually what happens. It's the same thing that happened in that date that you were just talking about. That's someone who
Mhm.
is in their feminine energy, because a true masculine man wouldn't allow you to even bring your wallet, because we want to take care of everything. We want to lead, we want to provide, we want to protect. All that I would ask you to do is just come have fun, and let's just get to know each other. Let me handle the rest.
Something you said, which was a really good point, and I was watching another woman who specializes on this yesterday talking about how if a man does, if you're having trouble in your relationship and the man is not stepping up in his masculine energy, and then he does all of a sudden plan a date and he chooses a restaurant and you go, oh, not that one though.
Mhm.
Then it's like it throws him off. And
It
she
does.
took it to another extreme where he chose another one and she didn't like that one. She chose one and she didn't like that one. And so it's all good and well for us to, so that's the hard, that's the dance. I
Yeah.
think that is the dance, right? You want to be able to be honest and be open. And I really don't like that restaurant. You know what I mean? You want to be able to, but
Right.
there's also a line and you have to, the biggest piece of advice my father ever gave me, and I think it was more about raising kids, but also it goes for in marriages, is choosing which hills to die on
Hmm.
carefully,
Hmm.
right? So do
Yeah.
you care that much about not going to that restaurant, or is it more important to allow your man to feel like he is leading? And if he enjoys seeing you happy because he led well, then that is going to encourage him to continue wanting to lead well.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. So I'm going to break down what happens in that situation, because I've been in that experience before and I've had clients who've been in that experience, right? So for me, it's a little different because I
Mhm.
do have a little bit more experience, a little bit more confident with who I am, right? But if that situation does happen where the woman is like, oh, I don't like that restaurant. For me, I always tell guys, you should always have a plan. You should have a backup plan, plan A, B, and C, just in case. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
prepared for these situations, you always have a better outcome. But let's just be honest, most of the guys lack confidence, so, and leadership, right? So what happens in that situation is, if you turn the guy down for the restaurant, he's going to get in his head and maybe he doesn't have a backup plan, right? So now it emasculates him, right? So if he throws a different option, two options, and you turn those two down, to me now it comes off as in you're being difficult, you're not really wanting to go on the date with me. So most guys are just not going to pursue that, right? So I always say, just
Right.
like, actually it goes back to what you said, you choose your battles. Like, is it really that important? You get what I'm saying? Like, just show up, have
Yeah.
fun, have a good attitude. When you can allow yourself to be in that feminine energy and allow the man to be the man, you're gonna see the date is gonna be even better than you thought, because he's gonna feel secure in himself. And if a man is not secure in himself, then he has no sense of leadership, and he can't have a good date or be able to show you a good experience.
100%. And it all goes back to, you said that keeps coming back to this common denominator of confidence, right? And like knowing our worth and knowing who we are. So as like, from a Christian point of view, I always pull it back to like, got to remind myself over and over again, my worth is in God, nothing else. And that confidence, from that, everything else can flourish. It is so important for us to support one another and inspire that in one another. But I do think like with that particular situation, it is different, right? If you're on a first date versus someone you're married to or
Yeah.
been with for 9 years, right?
Yeah.
And he steps up and is choosing the restaurant. Then what happens, right? And when most relationships go awry is when you get too comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because as an actor, I did this monologue when I was like in high school. On the whole monologue was like, the biggest problem in love is when people get too comfortable and you stop bringing your best self
Yeah.
forward. And it's like, so that little monologue of my 16-year-old
Mhm.
self said, like, rings so true today,
Yeah.
because on a first date, 9 out of 10 girls would probably be like, sure. The first date with my most recent ex-boyfriend was Italian. And I'm like, yeah, I love Italian. And we sat down and he hands me the menu and I'm like, cool. He's like, what do you want? And I'm like, anything. I just don't eat carbs. He's just He's like, well, we cannot be here. We must leave. But because I was like, it's fine, even though this is solely bread. The whole menu is bread. But that versus you're 10 years down the line and you're more comfortable and they propose something and it's like a Thursday and you're tired and the kids are screaming and you're like, I freaking hate that restaurant. You know what I mean? And so then all of a sudden, he, who's also tired and has worked a long day and blah, 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 and made this effort to put in a dinner reservation, and that's what he gets back.
Yeah.
So reminding ourselves to come back to that first fresh state, even though it's so hard, I think is so important. And I think that that was one of the best possible things that I learned from my most recent relationship is we were together for 2 years and we somehow, I wish I could like put it in a little pouch and like give it to other people and save it to myself for later. I don't know how, but we somehow stayed in that new state the entire time. But here's the other thing, and the real kicker is I think in that situation, we knew we were going to break up.
Mm.
So it stays in this, it's still special. It's going to be gone. So you appreciate it. So learning to, in your 10th, 20th, 30th year of marriage, when you're stuck with this person for the rest of your life, turning it instead to, I get to be with this person for the rest of my life. I'm so appreciative they're alive. Being in that state of gratitude would make all of those little things so much easier. Like you said, it's confidence and it's just a mental state with a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Because if you really like were realizing I could be dead tomorrow, my husband just chose to go on a date with me. I don't care where it is. That's how you would react. But getting ourselves to constantly come back to that state of gratitude, it's a hard thing.
It really is. And this is why it's so important for relationships to constantly pick a partner who wants to work on the relationship just as much as you do. Because I think both parties have to put the effort. It's not 50-50, it's 100 and 100. You both have to be making the commitment to want to keep growing because it's very easy to get comfortable. Us men,
Yeah.
most of the time, once we get the girl, we start getting comfortable. You stop setting up the date nights. You stop going to the gym as much as you were. You start getting the dad bod and you stop doing all the things that made you attractive in the very beginning of the relationship. And it's the exact same thing with the women. A lot of times you get too comfortable and you feel like you can just say anything and you don't understand how that emotionally affects your partner. Just like you said, hey, I went through the whole process of trying to plan a date and it comes off as you're ungrateful. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it comes down to also effort. Just understanding that if you have a loving partner who's making the effort to set up a date night, just go with it. Even if you don't feel like it, there's so much stuff that we can dissect here, but also being emotionally intelligent as a man that, hey, you know what, she had a long day. Maybe she doesn't want to go out on a date night. Let me bring the date night here and bring the dinner. Let's cook dinner together or something like that. Just having a partner who's emotionally intelligent is so essential too to having a successful relationship.
No, I could not agree more. It is constant communication, it's constant effort. And I think that that delicate line that we walk on is, and I've seen that in some relationships in my life, family members, that they're like, well, I want to be able to be comfortable and say whatever I want because this is my person. So I should be able to say whatever I want.
And you can.
Yes, but it's such a fine line. Goes back to like which hills do you want to die on? But it's important to be able to be comfortable. But I think a lot of it is in how it's delivered, right?
Delivery is everything. And most men don't know how to deliver either. One thing that I get from a lot of my fitness clients is I want to get my girl to go to the gym with me. She needs to lose a couple pounds. But most men are brutally honest and they're like, they end up making their females feel a certain way when they address it. Right. So I always tell the guys, it's your job to be also a leader and a mentor. Mentor your woman, inspire her to want to do better. Right. So it's all delivery. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So instead of saying, "Hey, babe, I think you're getting a little big. You should probably go to the gym now," say something like, "Hey, you know what? I would love for you to go to the gym with me. Maybe be my spotter, and we can set up some fitness goals, start meal prepping together, and like, why don't we make a list and inspire her to want to go with you?" It's just the
100%.
delivery. Delivery is everything, and that's something that most men don't know how to do. But going back to relationships and effort and getting comfortable, for me, one thing that I've made it non-negotiable in my relationships is to have a date night weekly. at least once a week. I like to dress up. I like to wear suits. I Most of the time I'm working. I'm always doing online calls and stuff like that, Zoom calls, constantly going to the gym, constantly on my hustle, but I want time to just relax and go experience things with my woman, right? So date night is super, it's not negotiable. On the weekends, I have one date night for my partner. We're gonna go out, we're gonna go experience some good food or just do something, just relax, but emotionally connect with her, put my phone away and just be present. It's so important.
So important. I've seen some of the very successful couples. I look up to really older couples. My girlfriend and I, we go travel, and we have this thing lately where instead of like, trying to meet other young people, we're always meeting older couples. And
Mhm.
we just want to know their whole story and how they are having a successful marriage. And I've met multiple couples that make a point to travel once a month or once every other month or at least a couple times a year, but like making a commitment to have a staycation or a little vacation and have that. It's so special. And those are, you said, going on dates, you're never supposed to stop dating your spouse. That is how you keep it alive and you prioritize, and you otherwise 20 years go by. And when's the last time we spent some time together? Without screaming babies and pooping puppies and all of the things that life just hands to you. So I think that that is such a good thing to prioritize for sure.
But also be present because there's a lot of couples that go on date nights and stuff like that, but they're not present to their phone. They're thinking about business, especially us men. We're thinking about deals that we
Yeah,
have to make and things that we
yeah.
have to do, and we're not present. And we see that with successful people all the time.
Um,
Learning to make, for me, like, I schedule everything on my calendar, right? So even my date night is going to be scheduled. So from that time on, it's non negotiable. I'm not picking up the phone, I'm not posting on social media. I am present because I want to make sure that I'm investing my time wisely. So it's super important. But another tip that I can give people that can be a game changer, and I actually learned this from a successful couple a long time ago, having a weekly or a monthly reflection night where you sit down with your partner and you talk about the relationship. Hey, babe, other times maybe I'm not aware of the things that I'm doing, but is there any areas where I'm lacking, where you feel like maybe I can pick up the slack? Maybe it's my
so
communication,
good.
maybe I'm not present. What do you feel I can work on? How can I get better
Yeah.
at becoming a better partner? Just being vulnerable enough with both parties to be able to just take off the mask and just put all the cards on the table and be like, hey, I want to make the effort to work on
Yeah.
this. Nobody talks about that stuff, but it's a game changer. You imagine if maybe your partner would be like, hey, you know what? I really don't like when you say this. Makes me feel like this when you say this. Wow, I didn't
Mhm.
realize that I was saying it like that. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Perfect. Accept, what you're saying, and I hear you, and I'm gonna work on it. That can literally save a marriage. That can save a relationship.
Because we don't know. That is so good. I've
Mhm.
been trying to do that, and for single people out there, I would recommend that you start doing this with your friends so you get
Yeah.
used to doing it, or with your siblings or
Mhm.
family members. For me, I've been doing it with my sister and with my best friend. I'm like, is there some areas I need to work on? And I ended up finding out, like, yeah, there's some stuff I do that's not so great, that's a little hurtful, that I worded things a little wrong, that I was a little more, what's the word, just stubborn in my ways than I needed to be. And now, having practiced that, it's going to be so much easier for me to recognize already that's kind of a habit. So, like, if I get caught doing it again, I can recognize, oh, I need some more work in that area. But I'm also reading this book, How We Love, which is basically about attachment styles. And they said exactly that. There's a report card kind of thing. You fill out all these
Mhm.
questions and you check in with your partner. And it's like, we do this for school, we do
Uh-huh.
this with our jobs. Once a year, there's the like press report thingy mablob. Why wouldn't we not do that with the most important thing in our entire life, which is our marriage?
Yeah.
So I think that that is a great idea for anyone listening. If you haven't started implementing that into your relationship, marriage, whatever, that is such a great tool.
Yeah.
Great tool. Because we can always be better.
Absolutely. I think most relationships fail because someone in the relationship doesn't feel like they're being seen or heard. And that is
Yeah.
the issue. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's both parties. They feel like they're not being seen or heard. So, how are you going to understand? How are you going to know what you don't know? Through common communication, just being able to have those hard conversations with your partner. And
Yeah.
also be receptive because a lot of the times, most people, when you hear the feedback that you don't like, you feel attacked. What do? You react rather than respond. So you have to be, men have to be stoic enough to be like, it's feedback,
Yeah.
I'll take it and I'll work on it. Whether you agree with it or not, it's feedback.
100%. And I've definitely noticed with women too, we have a habit of getting super defensive and just all of a sudden taking 0 to 100. When I first started dating, my first relationship ever, good Lord, I could not take criticism. I could not take it. And I still remember to this day him telling me I'm terrible at taking criticism. And that was actually the best thing that I needed to hear, because now, ever since then, whenever I'm being criticized, I'm like, how am I taking this?
Yeah.
Take it well. And
Yeah.
learning how to actually grow from what I'm hearing and change it, instead of just being like, no, I
Yeah.
don't do that, because that gets nowhere. That doesn't help anybody. And in that same area, the idea of inspiring, like you were saying, for a guy to inspire his girlfriend or wife to like do get him more into fitness and go to the gym, it's the same way also for women, where we tend to be, or some women have a habit of being, sorry ladies, don't hate me, but we do it, very naggy, right?
Yeah.
We tend to nag, do this more, you don't do this enough, can you just for once take out the trash? But like that is going to be doing exactly what we were talking about earlier and emasculate him. Whereas
That's gonna
instead,
drive. I'm sorry to interrupt. I
yeah,
just
no,
have to
go for
step in
it.
on this one because this resonates with me a lot. I actually had to step out of a relationship because of that. This will destroy the whole relationship. Nagging, constantly nagging. I keep saying it. Us men, the biggest thing that we look for is peace. We go out to work, we're trying to conquer the world, we're dealing with customers, closing deals and stress and car payments and all this stuff that we're trying to deal with. The last thing that we want to do is come home to someone who's going to battle us. We want to pick a partner that's going to go to war with us, not against us. You get what I'm saying? And
Yep.
this is why I always tell guys, choose wisely. Can your woman communicate properly? Because it will drain your soul to constantly be arguing. It'll do the exact same thing with women. It's vice versa. So proper communication is everything. And choose your battles. Is it really that important to ruin the day over maybe the toilet seat? That didn't get done. I think for me, I used to tell my partner, if you were to come to me and communicate what you need in a loving way, you'll get everything and anything out of me. You get what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be like honest. Like, she's always calling me daddy. So she'd be like, if she were to come to me and say, Daddy, can you do this for me? I'll be like, yes, what do you need? You get what I'm saying?
Right?
Daddy, I need my nails done.
So easy.
Absolutely. You get what I'm saying? Absolutely. What do you need, baby? I got you. You get what I'm saying? But if you're
Mhm.
like coming at me with a very hostile energy because you're angry about something, you're not going to get the result that you want. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can solve problems by just being in that feminine, soft energy. Like you can get a man, you can get any man to do anything you want with that soft energy.
To attract more bees with honey, right?
Absolutely.
And I feel like too, it goes back to how you say it. So if I was just to, instead of, and I again am practicing this with my girlfriends, with my sister. My sister and I are very different. So I recognize I could be very like, oh, you don't do this, you don't do that. And I didn't realize I was doing to her, right, what women do to husbands sometimes, where it's like that doesn't make her feel good. It's like a human thing too. It's not necessarily just like a male female thing. Whereas if I say to my friend or my sister or even my mom, it really makes me feel so good when you XYZ. I really appreciate it. I know you don't have time to do it all the time, but when you do, I just want to go out of my way to say, or I've been trying to saying sometimes, I really like that you, when you do A, B, and C, you haven't been doing it lately. Have I not shown enough gratitude for when you do?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it changes everything, because you're not mad at them. You're just
Mhm.
talking. It's a conversation. You're showing them that you appreciate them. It changes everything. It's just all in how it's said. And then you'll
Absolutely.
find that a whole nother side of people comes out and they're wanting to do more. One thing with my also allowing men to have space to lead,
Mhm.
I think is huge. And I noticed with my last relationship, again, I learned so many good examples through, that's why we go through our relationships, because I had so many bad and then good. And so now I see how not to do things and how to do things. And it's set like a really nice bar, a high bar, but also like I know red flags from 25 miles away. But one of the things that I noticed is like the beginning, I have codependent tendencies. And when I was fighting them and learning, like, nope, You don't need 75 texts a day. He's going to do his own thing. You're going to be grateful when you do see him. Let him do his own thing. And I will never forget, I don't know how many weeks into the relationship. It could have been months. I don't even know, because I finally just was doing my thing, giving him his space. I will never forget him being like, hey, can I see you more? And I was just like, oh, we got it. But if I had just been like, you don't message me enough, we don't hang out enough, he would have been like, now it makes it a chore.
Yeah, you also have to understand attraction. You build more attraction when you're further away because
Yeah.
you're constantly thinking about that person. You know, when there's a little bit of time away from each other, that passion, that attraction starts growing even more. So when you do see each other, like you just can't wait to be all over each other. I think like another thing that to bring it up that's super important in relationships is just allow the man to be the man. We are fixers. We love fixing stuff. Even if it's something so dumb, we just want to fix things and we want to be respected. You get what I'm saying? So make your men feel respected, but even let's just say the TV, anybody who's listening, something as simple as let's just say the TV, the Wi-Fi, disconnect the Wi-Fi on the TV and call your man and be like, Daddy, can you come over here and fix the TV? I can't fix it. Come over here. He'll come and fix it because he feels, even if you know how to fix it,
Yeah.
allow him
Yeah.
to do it. And like, it makes us feel special. It makes us feel like we're doing our role. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And one thing that my ex-partner used to always say right after I would fix things, she would be like, you always fix everything. And I'm like, yeah, of course I do. It made me want to do those things. And the more that she needed me, I wanted to protect her. I wanted to fix things and show up as the man. That allows me to be in my masculine.
So good. I love that. And that goes again back to let's fight this culture of telling us you need to be able to just open that can yourself. And then we're over here like, I can do it. I can do everything. I've so been guilty of that, where I just had something to prove, where I could do everything by myself. And then it wasn't until last year I moved to Seattle and I'm like, we all understand. We all get it. I made it very clear. I just picked up everything, brand new puppy, brand new apartment, brand new job, lived on my own. I was like taking over the world. And I'm like, oh, I feel like the point is made. We don't need to make the point anymore. And that's the thing too. Women are so good at life. We are, not to brag, but like we're fantastic. Everyone knows. No guy, I don't think no, that's not true. I think the issue is that there are some men that belittle women and make us feel like, oh, how cute. You think you can do that. But like a real man who understands and respects women is very aware that she can handle everything by herself.
Absolutely.
She will climb her little 5'2" butt up on the counter and reach something if she needs to. That's a silly analogy, but you know what I mean? She can step up and make the money if she needs to. You're aware, but allowing her to, or allowing each partner to play that role and to be a part of the process is what's so beautiful about men and women working together, about two partners coming together and supporting each other. Even in gay relationships, there is a masculine and feminine energy always being able to help and work as a unit, and a family works as a unit and has each other's backs. And I think that is just like so important to recognize. And our culture, it goes back to needing to fight the culture and recognize the things that we can do, and the things that we don't need to prove, because you're complete in God and in who you are. Something else you said made me think of something, but I forget. But that was a great story. Oh, I know what it was. You made me think of this TikTok that I just saw, and it was the cutest freaking thing. She's like, it's this girl, and she goes up to her man who's been like working on this part of his car all day, right? Working on this all day. And she goes up and she's like, babe, did you do that? And he goes, he's just so lit up. He's so excited that she recognized this thing that he built. Because it's purpose. It's purpose.
Exactly. It's purpose. And the more that you allow the man to be the man, the more he's going to want to show up for you. I recently was dating someone, and even early on in the relationship, we decided to take a road trip to Colorado. And sure enough, as soon as she asked me if I can go on that trip with her, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let me take care of it. And she was like, oh, we're going to stop at a couple of different places. And I was like, oh, what are we getting? Airbnbs? And she was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and handle that. And I was like, you let me handle that. You get what I'm saying? I wanted to pay for the Airbnbs. I paid for all the food. I paid for the gas. I'd never allowed her to even worry about anything. I wanted to do all the driving. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
the more that she allowed me to be the man, the more I wanted to show up for her, because all I want to
Yeah.
do is love her and protect her and just let her be in her feminine, because she was so soft. So she was such
Yeah.
a good soul, and it made me feel good when I
Yeah.
do those things. Like when
Yeah.
we see that energy back, like every single time I would see her, I'm like, "Ah, like I just want to love her and protect her. I just want to hug her because that energy makes me
Yeah.
feel good, and it means the world to us."
100%. 100%. I've been noticing other little things too, like even summer dresses and just being girly and allowing ourselves to just like be girls and be like, I think one thing too is that I notice that for me, with someone I'm really comfortable around, I become a child, a full on little kid. And when we look back, and girls, most of us will admit that it's always the guy that we don't like that's obsessed with us, right?
Mhm.
Why is that? It's probably because he's the one that you're a total goofball around. You just become a little kid. You become playful. You become feminine. You become girly because you're not trying to prove yourself to him.
Yeah.
You're just being yourself. And ironically, that's the version of you should be showing the person that you
Mhm.
want to be your partner.
That's the version that we're attracted to. Just being feminine, being soft, being goofy, and just, having such good positive energy. Like you can speak life into us with that energy. Summer
Yeah.
dresses are, oh my God, that's my weakness. Summer dresses and cowgirl boots, it. That is
So
the look.
funny. It is different
It is.
definitely for each guy, but I did a poll last week and
Yeah.
it's like summer dresses, summer dresses. I was like,
It's always been summer dresses for me as well.
that's
So
so
my last
funny.
partner, that's all she wore. She knew that I liked summer dresses, and she made the effort to wear them for me
Yeah.
all the time. And it's just for me, since I'm very in my masculine, it makes her look so much more attractive because, again, she comes off as soft, like that. Just, I don't know, I can't even explain it, but I don't know. It's just such a beautiful thing when the woman is in her feminine. That
Yeah.
energy, it's everything. It's a beautiful thing.
Now, I will say, and you can let me know what your point of view is on this. I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here, right? So, also, I do think that there is space, and because it's an energy thing, there's also times when I want to wear a nice pantsuit and I want to show up feeling like a badass. And I've also noticed that a man who is completely healthy and in his masculine and also comfortable with his feminine energy will not be threatened by that at all. He's like, you look great. That's amazing. Good for you. Do you feel good? So that also is a serious green flag for me because I've also noticed that very insecure men who are all actually very, very feminine will force you to be in your frickin' summer dress and
Yeah.
be like, you can't wear that. You have to wear this and make me feel more like a man. And it's like, well, if you're really confident in your manness and your masculine, you won't need to force that upon her, but you will probably inspire her, your ex, to want to do that because she sees that you like it, but she knows you would never ask it of her.
That's funny you say that. That takes me back to that same partner that I was just talking about. I think when a man truly is into a woman, when he's really in love with her, doesn't matter what she dresses in. She looks great and beautiful and everything. The same thing. There would be times where she was like 70s, very hippie like. She'd wear things that I'm like, where did she get this stuff from? But every single time that she would wear it, I would look at her and I'd be like, God, you're so beautiful. You get what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
because the energy was there. I don't
Yeah.
even care what she wore. She looked good
Yeah.
in everything because of that. Because the energy, we're both in alignment. It's that masculine and feminine energy. And people also have to understand. I think it's very important for men to understand that both men and women have a masculine and a feminine. It's just a matter of
Mm-hmm.
knowing how to balance that. Because it's very important for men to also have a feminine energy. Now, the word feminine to me is just being compassionate, being able to be emotionally intelligent, right,
Mm-hmm.
with your woman, right,
Yeah.
and with your children as well if you're a father.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys think that we have to be just masculine. Alpha is like, the word alpha actually is really funny to me, but because to me, someone who is masculine never labels himself as masculine or high value or any of that. That's
Yeah.
something that just it shows with their energy. But it's very important to also have a soft side, to be compassionate and to be emotionally intelligent, to be able to be stoic and see that type of energy from
Yeah.
you know.
100%. Oh, so good. Well, we could probably talk for hours, so I'm gonna end it here. But you guys, thank you so much for watching or listening. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments. Just continue loving and leading well, gentlemen and ladies. Continue leaning into that feminine energy and know that you are so loved and cherished and complete. We love you. Thank you for watching. And I will also put Lewis's Instagram in the caption if you'd like to go give him a follow. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.